What exactly is Christmas? And what are the astounding implications that go along with this so-called celebration? If one looks to the Romans, they celebrated this point of time in the yearly calendar in what was known as Saturnalia, which was an orgiastic festival in Rome that honored Saturn. During this time of year, each December, were 12 days of excessive eating, drinking, promiscuity, and sexual orgies, as well as every kind of debauchery that one can imagine. This is where the modern 12 days of Christmas has its links, with the number 12 being symbolic of the 12 months on the calendar, but more importantly in the Roman era, the 12 ages of the zodiac. Less known is the fact that this celebration was also known as Bacchanalia, which was tied to Dionysus, who is typically depicted as carrying around a thyrsus, which is a staff that is tipped with a pine cone. This is the same staff that is symbolically carried around by the various popes of the Vatican. The word Bacchus is a Latin noun that means kind of sea fish, and also translates as god of wine or vine, connecting Dionysus to the Jesus character who is associated with the fish and is also a god of wine, as depicted in the biblical allegory of Jesus turning water into wine, alluding to the fact that the water in our body turns into wine or blood. The sus from Jesus, sus, is a Latin word that means swine, pig, and a kind of fish, showing us in the words that Jesus, sus, truly is another formation of the Dionysus character. Add in the aspects of being a swine and pig, and we have the connection to the festival that honors Saturn with its excessive drinking, eating, partying, sexuality, and debauchery. By doing all of this, one is displaying themselves as a pig. Also associated with all of this is the fact that Bacchus, Dionysus, Jesus, is a kind of sea fish, indicating the sea of outer space, meaning extraterrestrial, and is the main basis for the bishops, popes wearing their fish hats, otherwise called the mitre, which is known as the liturgical headdress worn by bishops on formal occasions. What formal occasion? The liturgy, of course, which is phonetically the litter G, indicating the litter of G known as Saturn, the left dead sun. A litter is the offspring of one birth of a mammal, and humans are a form of mammal. Another synonym for the liturgy is the Lord's Supper, because humans are the litter of G, being raised as supper for the kind of sea fish extraterrestrial gods. And humanity is ritualistically and symbolically giving them their meals as a gift when celebrating Christmas. How is this done? The thyrsus pine cone tip staff is in actuality the staff known as the spine, with the pineal gland of the brain sitting at its tip. The pineal gland is our God superconsciousness connection to what we truly are, and this is being ritualistically given away when people set up their pine trees every year and put their boxes of Saturn worship underneath them as gifts. The pine tree represents the pineal gland and the tree of life, which is the human spine. And when putting boxed gifts underneath the pine, humans are symbolizing a fact of this reality, that you are giving away your kingdom, pineal gland, God, superconsciousness connection, seat of your soul, to those who now use us as food energy. This is the gift of life given to the extraterrestrial sea fish, seeing that the legal acronym GIFT means gamete intrafallopian tube transfer, showing us that by symbolically and energetically putting the boxed gifts underneath the pine tree, people are giving their newborn children and themselves away to the extraterrestrial sea fish of Saturn. This enables the false gods to take the seat of our soul. What humans need to become aware of is that these acts symbolically carry a waveform of energy that reverberates throughout the universe and is read as a signature. This signature, sine wave of energy, can be used as a form of contract for those who are willing to take advantage of the situation. And that is precisely what is happening right now, especially through these ritualistic forms of traditional celebration. By symbolizing through the act of putting boxes underneath the pine tree, you are energetically sending a waveform signature, sine wave, to the ETs of Saturn and telling them that you would no longer like to have the seat of your own throne in your kingdom of the mind. The ETs take this wavelength energy signature and say, "Thank you very much for your gift," and create what is known as the legal Satan Claus, Satan Claus, or Santa Claus, which is how they are able to take our 10 or X chromosomes from the moon, the double cross, and use them to create more children through the scientific gamete intrafallopian tube transfer process. This is all written in the Satan Clause, because a clause is an article or section of a legal document, whereby the ET gods of Saturn legally own the X chromosome, which is the moon. This is the reason that all females carry 2 X chromosomes with their moon eggs that drop every month, because the X is the female chromosome that is found in pairs in each egg. This is why humanity has been Freemasonically double-crossed, indicating the 2 X or crossed chromosomes, which were genetically crossed within the natural human DNA. Once this was accomplished, it created a sine wave energy signature of duality within our mitochondrial DNA, which the ETs could then use as polarized energy. Mitochondrial DNA is the DNA that is inherited solely from the mother, which is what creates the opposite charge in the human biology. Sunlight is the opposite of moonlight. This is the basis of "Let there be light" from the book of Genesis, or the genes of Isis, moon, and also humanity becoming as one of us, to know both good and evil. By interpairing these 2 separate aspects, there was a genetic tension, existence, that was created within the male genes to keep pulling the creation aspect forward, with a need to keep releasing the X chromosome that was paired with the male Y. This is symbolized by the Hermetic caduceus, which is also known as the Wand of Mercury, again indicating our spinal column and the polarized ionization crossing that happens along its columns. To this day, the caduceus is still the insignia used by the medical profession, which blatantly proves to us through the symbol that our DNA was medically tampered with by the snake time gods of Saturn. Santa is an anagram for Satan, and Satan is Satan, which is the X chromosome of the moon. X is the Roman numeral for 10 and the binary code of matrix DNA duality that was created within us to keep the X tension cord of energy going for Saturn, which is celebrated and energetically symbolized through the December events of Saturnalia, which now simply goes under the name of Christmas. The same Christmas that celebrates Satan, Old Nick, as a purveyor of gifts, when in fact it is the other way around. Saint Nick, Old Nick, is, by basic definition, the chief spirit of evil and adversary of God, who is the tempter of mankind and master of hell. Still not convinced? The Indonesian word Satan translates into English as Old Nick, and Old Nick translates into the Turkish language as Shaitan and Iblis, both sharing the translated synonyms of demon, devil, Satan, adversary, Old Harry, and the evil one. The Filipino language concurs with Old Nick, becoming Satanas, and the Finnish language has the word Piru, meaning devil, Dickens, Old Nick. The Russian language showcases it in the same detail with its word diavol, which is the noun for devil, fiend, demon, Satan, Old Nick, Belial, serpent, hellhound. And as a Russian phrase can also translate as evil one, old gentleman, old enemy, old scratch, and his satanic majesty. There are many more languages that show this connection, but I think the point is proven. Still believe that this tradition is harmless and innocent? Santa, Satan, rides on his sleigh, which is phonetically slay, because humanity is being slayed by Satan, who goes down the chimney, which is nothing more than an allegorical way of saying the chimney of the human spine. Everything is in reverse with this one, though, because Satan, Old Nick, is riding up the spine with his reindeer, to reign over everyone and collect the gifts, X and Y chromosomes, that have been laid underneath the pine tree, pineal gland, top of the spine.
You better not cry, better not pout, I'm telling you why. Santa Claus is coming to town. He's making a list, checking it twice. He's gonna find out who's naughty and nice. Santa Claus is coming to town. He sees you when you're sleeping, he knows when you're awake. He knows if you've been bad or good, so be good, for goodness sake. You better watch out, you better not cry, you better not pout, I'm telling you why. Santa Claus is coming to town. You better not cry, better not pout, I'm telling you why. Santa Claus is coming to town. He's making a list, checking it twice. He's gonna find out who's naughty and nice. Santa Claus is coming to town. He sees you when you're sleeping, he knows when you're awake. He knows if you've been bad or good, so be good, for goodness sake. You better watch out, you better not cry, you better not pout, I'm telling you why. Santa Claus is coming, Santa Claus is coming, Santa Claus is coming to town.